You've just accessed Hardware is Forever, your source for the expert insights, ideas, and innovations you need to do more in the electronics manufacturing industry. From optimization to operations, join us as we put the pieces together for a better approach to manufacturing. Let's go.
Welcome back to Hardware is Forever. I'm Chris Bintliff. Jay Patel is with us. He's the CEO at Amtech, and we're continuing our conversation on Deming's 14 points of management. In our last episode, we talked about quality inspection and why we should stop depending on those. In this conversation, I think it strikes to the heart of so much of what I think SMB, small, medium-sized businesses often get wrong. And so the principle is stop awarding business on the basis of price. In other words, don't just think about who's cheaper here. Let's hire them. And I want to understand why you think that's all kinds of things jump to mind for me. But Deming had a point of view on it. Jay, what is your point of view on this? Why is that the wrong way for me to do it? And both stop thinking of your sort of suppliers in that way, but also stop thinking of yourself that way. Okay, well, let's make sure we're the cheapest in town. Why is that problematic? Both perspective.
If cost was everything, then we wouldn't have a luxury market that helps us drive innovation. Like I remember growing up, power windows was like on Cadillacs. Nobody really had power windows, but because the Cadillacs had it, it trickled down ultimately to now even all the base vehicles have power windows because we were able to, make it robust, learn how to bring costs down, bring other costs down in the vehicles and have access to everybody. So I think, really just basing everything on price is not the end all be all, because when you do it on price, you also lose a lot of value. And I think we've talked about that as well in the past. Is value is overall like the idea is it's total cost. So I can say how we've worked with our vendors and how we've engaged with our customers to speak to this, because I'm a supplier for somebody else, and I have suppliers on it, and we try to being a supplier and engaging with the supplier, we try to select one person and have them understand the way that we want to function and work, and have them know that, look, we are behind you. We will support you, good, bad, other. So they invest in us then at that time. If we wanted to go shop for price, we could probably get better pricing, but because we have this type of relationship with them, they go above and beyond, and there is not only a financial relationship, but there's also a relationship as being a well-wisher for us, because we've treated them well, they want to treat us well, and they help us look out for different blind spots. So I think, when we talk about, and then when we have been able to engage in that way with our customers, that this is not only a price issue, we're engaging because we have the lowest price, but, we may not be the lowest cost. We may not be the highest cost, but we have this cost that they can go somewhere else for cheaper. But when they engage with us, and we know that they are engaging with us and we are their supplier, we engage with them more because we know that we're not fighting a fight. We know we have their attention. We know that we're appreciated. So we're looking out for their blind spots as well at that time. So both sides, it works out.
We rarely maximize the best possible experience by minimizing price. We rarely maximize top quality by minimizing price. Price matters, but I love kind of what you're sharing, which is around the rest of the statement from Deming, which is instead minimize total cost. Move toward a single supplier for any one item on a long-term relationship of loyalty and trust. What that does, what I'm hearing you say is, when you have a long-term supplier who starts to get to know your nuances, maybe eccentricities, your history, where you're headed, what's important to you, it becomes really easy to not just be a producer of, but to be a partner with, and to be able to say, well, remember 2 years ago when we bumped into that issue because if we do this differently this time, we will. You start to have this shared knowledge, which is essential for long-term success. And you're not going to get that by, and you're also not going to build long-term. Look, Jay, we found somebody else. It's been a great 8 years, but these guys are $5 cheaper. We're going to go over here. To play catch up on that, to build that, to rebuild that, you're going to lose a lot more money in the long run with that. But what is the resistance to that? That makes so much intellectual sense, but how often does it come down to somebody thinking, well, I don't know, that seems really expensive. Talk to me just about what the human condition there, which is something you like to investigate. Why are we so resistant to practice this thing that seems to intellectually make so much sense? Where's the fear sort of quotient there, the distrust that makes us say, oh, but I don't know, is it worth it?
Yeah. So I think it's like, there's one thing that people always say is, just to make sure that your suppliers are honest. So if you have 2 suppliers at any given time, you always get the best price, and you keep them, their pencils will be sharpened, and they'll be able to, provide better pricing for you, and not necessarily get lazy or bring the margins up. You'll still get a competitive price. And I think that's one thing, is diversify it to make sure that, your suppliers are held honest. And number 2 is also diversification of risk. What if one thing happens with one supplier, then this happens with that. And I think, are all those risks valid? Yes, but it's also up to the OEMs and people like me who engage with suppliers to be able to qualify those suppliers. So that they have integrity, that they have quality standards, that they're strong, what their character is, if they're not, are they there for a quick buck, or are they there for long-term commitments? So that's really up to, and I think that's where Deming is really saying is like, evaluate your vendors and make sure you pick them on more than just pricing. And that means it's up to leadership to say, okay, what does our organization want out of a vendor? What type of long-term relationship do we want? What are we looking at as far as core values, as far as their focus in different markets, where they want to be in 5 to 10 years, who their leadership team is, how are they planning to scale? All those things that are important, those conversations need to happen. It can't just be, here's an RFQ, give us a price, and then we'll reward you. It has to be deeper than that.
How important do you think it is to understand a supplier's, you just mentioned a whole bunch of characteristics that are really important, but how important is it to understand, so how do you do things? Like, what is your process? Get me into the minutia here. How do you do things? Is that important? Or we trust that you've got that on point. You've won the business. Let's now talk about what we want to do together. We're not too worried about how you do things. We just need to know that it's going to be delivered as we expect, on time, et cetera, et cetera.
You have to find a good fit for your organization, and have to know who you are and who you want to engage with to make yourself better. Some people are very, very savvy in sales and marketing, so they may want to get a good vendor that has more technical capabilities, and vice versa. Is if the OEM or myself are great technically, then I may want to find an organization or a supplier that helps me out on the marketing and sales side of things. So I think you really need to know who you are and where your strengths lie and where your weaknesses lie, and then find a supply chain, whether it's in manufacturing or anything else that really augments that and works well with you in who you are as a core value, who you are with as core values, and they really mesh with that. And that they're going to be there for a long time. So it's more than just, do they have the technical capabilities or the experience to be able to do this? Do they have the mindset? Do they have the core values? Do they have the vision to be able to augment your business to make you better?
Flip it around for me. As a supplier, when you're in that position, what do you look for from the client? What do you look for to know this is going to be somebody that we're going to not just enjoy working with, but we're going to do quality things together? We're ready for that long-term commitment, because not every partnership makes sense. Not every relationship meshes. Are there things that we should look out for from the people who are asking to do business with us to make sure that that's going to be a quality relationship? Are there criteria in that same sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think even if you talk to guys who are, financial guys, right? And if I put my CFO hat on, like I want a guy who I know that I can trust, who has not done anything fraudulent, and we know that they are strong and they have a sense of pride in what they're doing and character, so they're not going to hurt us or put our business at financial risk. And I think that's the same way, like, if the CFO can think like that, I think it's the same way as a leadership team. They need to be able to engage, and we need to be able to engage with customers who we know that they have been there for a long time, who we have a good feeling with. We can evaluate who they are and where they want to be and at what level they want to engage with. So we look at our core values and try to make sure that they complement our core values. We look at our purpose and why we exist and try to find people who complement that. Now, is that a journey and a process? Absolutely. And then those levers we need to pull as well. Like there may be customer relationships. I mean, luckily all of our customers are great right now, but there may be customer relationships that are not working out. And we would have to tell the customers, like, look, this is just not working out. We may not be a good fit for you, and we want to see you be successful. So we'll help you transition to find another vendor. And sometimes when you are able to connect with people after you've gone through that process, you realize, yeah, this was a good idea. We should have done this a long time ago.
I think it's interesting in general. You are, from my perspective, a very relationship-focused person and a relationship-focused leader, and Amtech is a relationship-focused organization. It's interesting to look at Deming's points. If you wanted to, you can look at each of these with sort of a pragmatism, and you can just say mechanically, okay, so cool, what are the checkpoints that I need to make this happen? You naturally, as you look at all these points, it's clear when I talk to you that you filter them through this relationship-focused point of view. Do you have first of all, are you aware of that? And do you think I think that's part of the beauty of his points. You can look at them from different ways and find your own value, and you're eventually going to kind of reach the same ocean as whomever. Do you agree that that's part of what is making these 14 points so interesting?
Yeah, I mean, I think, at the end of the day, you are in business and you have been employed. I have been in business. I have been employed. And it ultimately always comes down to relationships. Like, it starts with that and ends with that. And I think that's where, when you have good relationships with your friends, yourself, your family, even in business, it makes a big difference. It adds a lot of value and it makes things a lot more fun. And we're able to kind of understand where we're coming from and not judge them. And that's, at the end of the day, all business is a people business, and all business is a relationship business. So if we can build that, build those strong relationships, then we can do anything. I mean, we've been to the moon. We can do it. We can do anything. So,
Jay Patel is the CEO at Amtech. Always interesting to talk to you about these points and everything else. Jay, thanks for your insights on this stuff, and looking forward to our continued conversations next time.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us, and a special thanks to our subscribers and followers. Consider becoming one today wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. Hardware is Forever is designed, tested, engineered, and built by the manufacturing experts at Amtech. Learn more and let us help you envision your next project with a free Design for Manufacturing assessment at buildamtech.com/DFM.